one-on-ones with the refs on the field and saying, here's what's going on.
I think it'd be fun to have a ref in the booth with all the broadcast teams. They get,
repping experts now. You got, what's his name, index card boy.
Gene Steratore.
But yeah, they don't have any actual authority. They're just analyzing it.
Yeah, and it's just so... It's so simple that most of the time, me looking at it, I can say, okay, he got there early. That's pass interference. Or, he's not within a step and he still hits the quarterback. That is roughing the passer. But these guys who get paid a couple $100,000 can't. And I'm a fan. Like, I have an inherent bias. These guys are supposed to not be biased. I don't know how they can do that. But there's just got to be a better way. And I think making the refs accountable, finding the refs for bad calls, I think would also go a long way into helping. Because if... Like,
I mean, maybe not. That would probably just lead them to not calling, anything, which I don't think is the right call either.
But if it's consistent, if they're consistently not calling stuff, then that sucks that they're not calling it, but at least it's consistent and not determining the outcome of a game. This literally determined the outcome of a game because it was so lopsided against the Bears. And it's not like the Bears were literally doing anything wrong in most of those cases. There was no face mask on the one. He was not offsides. And it just... I hate when refereeing gets in the way of a game. And far too often it does. When a machine works, you're not supposed to realize the machine is working. Only when it doesn't work should you notice there's something going on with the machine. We shouldn't be noticing the refs. We should be watching the players.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that the NBA has started addressing, and, there's been a monumental shift from this year compared to last year where they were calling, guys jumping into defenders, and then the defender was getting called for it, which was nonsense.
Fuck you, James Harden and Trae Young.
Now you're seeing a huge shift the other direction, and it's been great for the game. I don't think any basketball fan, unless they're really just into Trae Young or Harden, is going to complain about this shift. It's been great. It's the game flows much more. A lot fewer just bullcrap fouls where guys have they're obviously not going to hit this shot. They're just hamming it up for the refs like they were, and it was ruining the game. It made basketball for me, almost unwatchable. I would watch the Knicks games because surprisingly they were doing well. I couldn't stand turning on another game, and then playoffs with Trae Young, who was master flopper, was awful. So it's been a dramatic positive shift. So in that sense, that I could agree with you that at least it would be consistent that they're not going to call every little thing, and just call the really egregious things, or and that could still be you're protecting the quarterbacks as much as possible, but they still haven't been even doing that, especially the rookie quarterbacks I've seen getting slammed and not getting calls. Happened to Zach Wilson. It's how he got hurt, how he got injured, and that was the second time in that game that he got roughed with no flag. We saw it with Fields. I think we saw it with Trevor Lawrence. I don't know if it's happened to Mac Jones. I wouldn't be surprised if it didn't, since the refs love to bend over for the Patriots. But,
no, he's just out there wrecking defensive players.
Twisting their ankles and stuff, and only getting a fine for that. So that's interesting.
Yep. But, I mean, even Cam Newton got absolutely no protection because he was a big body quarterback, and the referees were like actively not calling it. Yet, what was it? When who did the Packers play 2 weeks ago? Not the before the Cardinals. I have to look because Aaron Rodgers was in the process of getting sacked legally, and he turned around as he was being spun around, looked at the refs to complain that he didn't get the flag thrown for him. Like, it was bad. So it was
actually
it was the Cardinals.
I think was a good no call. He was getting dragged down by the jersey. He thought he was getting horse collared, and it wasn't a horse collar.
Yeah. He was. It's definitely a good no call. It wasn't a horse collar at all, and he was pissed that the refs weren't calling it. But we could all clearly see, and then see him turn around and complain as he's being sacked to the referees. I'm surprised he didn't get it, honestly.
Well, was he taunting the referees? Maybe, because that's what that rule has come down to.
Yeah.
Is anything that the refs, decide is taunting is taunting.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I understand why he thought, he was getting horse collar, because you're getting pulled down from behind. But if they don't have your shoulder pads, it's not a horse collar.
Well, they don't have to have your shoulder pads anymore. If they get inside your jersey, it's a horse collar as well.
Okay. Well, I could see why he would feel like it was a horse collar, because you can't see behind your head. You're feeling your jersey get pulled, and it feels like the guy's, got you from up top. When he's just pulling, he's just got a fist pull your jersey from your mid back. You can't necessarily feel that. You just feel the pressure from up top pulling you down.
Well, yeah, T.O. is still having an impact on the game.
So, I could see both sides of that one. That one to me was fine, because, you get pulled down from behind, feels like you're getting horse collared, you're like, yo, refs, what the fuck? But the refs actually saw it and were like, no, you're getting pulled down by your jersey. That's not a horse collar. But when, a young rookie quarterback is throwing the ball and has thrown it, and then a guy's still taking 2 full steps and slamming his shoulder into him, and there's no call, that's some bullshit.
It's like there's a hierarchy, and you have to earn your way into the referee's ability to throw a flag for you,
which is nonsense. They have to call the game impartially, and they don't, and it's so frustrating.
It is. Mm-hmm. All right. I think we got that out of our system in 23 minutes, so. What do you say we get on with the rest of the week, yeah? All right. So, not a good week for most teams. Started off. Yeah, we're just gonna, forget all about what happened. So let's just look forward to next week. No, I'm just kidding. The Jets fall to the Colts 45-30 on Monday night. Carson Wentz looked decent against the Jets, but we still know he's trash.
Their offensive line just murdered our D-line. It was pretty embarrassing for our defense. We've got a lot of injuries and stuff, but even still, they just had, Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines had holes a mile wide to run through.
Old man Josh Johnson getting some solid work in for you guys, though.
Yeah.
He 27 of 41, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Carson Wentz 22 of 30 for 272 with 3 touchdowns. The rushing game not even close. The Jets combined for 88 rushing yards between the two Johnsons and Carter, and Jonathan Taylor had 172 yards on his own. So, yeah, what you're saying is exactly right. Fucking holes a mile wide for Jonathan Taylor to get through. Michael Pittman had a nice 64 yard, 1 touchdown game. Elijah Moore looking solid, 7 receptions, 84 yards, 2 touchdowns. Good fucking player to have there for the Jets. Him and Corey Davis looking like a nice tandem for New York.
Corey Davis was out.
Well, no, I don't mean in this game. I just mean in general.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's gotten me a couple monster fantasy games this year. But,
yeah, no, the two main rookies besides Zach Wilson, they looked pretty solid. Michael Carter continuing to seem like he's going to take control of the backfield and maybe break out. Michael Pittman on the Colts definitely looking like he's continuing his breakout season and really taking that next step. Certainly wouldn't surprise me if he's Carson Wentz's favorite target the rest of the year. And, the Jets started to come back, but it was only once really the Colts were in a prevent defense. So, I don't put too much stock into that. It was just a really poor game on both sides of the ball. Defenses get tired from offenses, only having a 3 and out and then having to be on the field the whole time. It's still inexcusable how easy the Colts basically just steamrolled us. Really frustrating. But I guess you're going to have stuff like that with a really young team and a brand new coaching staff and all that jazz, but hopefully we start to see improvement.
Yeah, speaking of pretenders, let's move on. Yeah, 5-4 Cleveland beats the 5-4 Cincinnati Bengals 41-16. And the Cowboys game I was watching, Greg Olsen, when they went to a break to show Baker Mayfield hit a wide open Donovan Peoples-Jones, said, "Oh, it looks like all they need to do is get rid of Odell Beckham and they hit their stride again." Oh my God! Yeah, the Bengals just.
Damn! I didn't even think about that.
They started off hot and they've really cooled down. Mayfield looked decent, 218 yards, 2 touchdowns. Burrow, 282 yards, 2 interceptions. Nick Chubb, 14 carries, 137 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon, 13 carries, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. Donovan Peoples-Jones, 2 catches, 86 yards and a touch. T. Higgins, 6 receptions, 78 yards. The game started out not great for the Bengals. Denzel Ward, 99-yard interception return for a touchdown. Donovan Peoples-Jones is really good. I don't know if the Browns need Odell Beckham, but I'm hearing a lot of reports of him going to the Packers or him going to the Patriots. Either way, I can't wait for him to get into either one of those franchises and then just tear it apart. Like, that's what I'm excited for, because that's what he does. His attitude and the way he conducts himself is robbing an entire generation of football fans from seeing what could potentially be a top 10 wide receiver of all time. And I honestly still believe that one-handed catch over Brandon Carr really made him think he's bigger than he is. And I think it's the worst thing that's ever happened to him in his football career. Because he gets in his own way way more than any other player I've ever seen, outside of a player like Ray Rice, who we're not even going to get into that. But he has the ability to be so good, and yet he just chooses to be a dipshit.
Is that again?
Odell Beckham.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you're constantly surrounded by assholes, maybe you should look at yourself and see if you're the asshole. when it was just him and the Giants, and he had, was new to the Browns and everything, and things were looking up, it was like, okay, maybe this was the Giants being, dysfunctional